What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 72 of the Everything NYJ Podcast. I am your host, Liam, along with my good old co-host, Gino Italy Jet Pagano. Gino, how you doing, my friend?
Doing pretty good. It's been a really interesting day. And we're going to be talking a lot about what's going on with the quarterback position and just everything going on. I mean, it's going to be a big week. I feel like this is going to be a big week. I feel like a lot's happened today. But, guys, I want to bring on a very special guest. His name is Justin. They call him Juss. Hope I got that right. If I didn't, that's fine. He'll tell me later. But he's a great content creator, Yankees and Jets. He's going to be upset that I'm a Red Sox fan. So it'll be all good. But this guy is really great what he does. He's a new friend of mine. Please welcome Justin.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you, Gino. Thank you, Liam. Happy to be here talking some Jets. This is actually my first time really talking some Jets on camera since the season ended. So it's been a good break.
Good stuff, my man. How are you?
Glad to have you on.
I'm doing great. Just been busy with work and everything that we got going on, but keeping an eye and a pulse on all things Jets and some spring training on and right here in the background. So it's been a long content year from April to December, January.
Right.
But just refreshed and ready to go for baseball. But obviously, there's some important things to talk about with these Jets.
Definitely. So I'm going to put the slide up for you. This is where we can follow you. Tell us where we can follow you real quick.
I am on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and even on YouTube. YouTube, I've been a little bit spotty on the uploads, but definitely a lot of TikTok and Instagram. I'm live on there or, posting content there my day to day. And we'll be back posting content shortly with baseball season starting up.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, I guess we can all figure out what we're going to talk about tonight. What is going to happen now that Carr is gone? What do you think? What do you think, Justin?
Well, they're playing the waiting games. They must know something.
Right.
I'm cautiously optimistic about our chances of securing the quarterback that we want. But again, I think they liked Carr a lot. But again, sometimes you're waiting out for the girl. You're telling the girl you like her, but you're really waiting for the other one that you really want. So I think that's what's going on with the Jets. So they have the high school crush, Aaron Rodgers. And I'm just praying that it works out because you know how it is with these Jets. We want something. We think this is going to happen. We thought the playoffs was going to happen, and then it just spins on its head out of nowhere. So I hope it gets resolved by the end of the week.
You are not the first person that said that analogy today. I've heard that 3 times now. I love it.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
It's exactly the same thing.
Do you think it's Aaron Rodgers or bust, or what are you thinking?
For me to be excited about what we got going on this year, I think Rodgers is the bet. To me, it's Rodgers or bust because I can't get excited about Tannehill. I'm not going to be excited about Jimmy G.
Right.
I definitely don't want to go down a contingency plan where Jacoby Brissett is our starting quarterback. People are obviously going to entertain Mike White. As you can see, the Mike White discourse is back and alive on Twitter. So I'm really anxious about when we're going to find the answers here.
Oh, I agree 100%. Not only that, I don't know if it's just me, but Lamar Jackson just really seems like a pipe dream. I don't see it happening at all. I really don't.
Yeah. I think obviously the trade is a weird scenario because they haven't placed the franchise tag on him. If they do the non-exclusive, we could probably sign him to a deal. And you know what? You're only giving up 2 first-round picks, but I just don't see how he fits what we're trying to do as a team. You know what I'm saying? I just not as a run-first quarterback. His durability hasn't played a full season in a couple of years. I'm not sure how it fits with our receivers and what we try to do through the air.
Yeah, and James brings up a good question too. If we didn't get Rodgers, I don't know where we go from there. And it's a good point. I don't know where we go from there. Do we just stick it up with Mike White because is somebody like a Tannehill or a Brissett, somebody like that? Is he a major upgrade over a Mike White? We don't really know because we have yet to see a full season of Mike White. I don't know, man. Things can get very ugly very quickly, and I think that this is gonna be a very telling week, man. And it's like my birthday's tomorrow. I can't wait. I hope the best birthday present.
Praying on it then. I need a birthday wish.
Right.
Yeah, I hope Aaron Rodgers. I get Aaron Rodgers for my birthday.
But not even just to settle the quarterback position. It just sets the tone for the offseason and where we're going to go. If you get Rodgers, that obviously attracts a lot more veteran players. Obviously in free agency, we have a clear direction of where we want to go in the draft. Free agency opens up next week. I would really be a little bit annoyed. I think all of us would be if we go to free agency, the new league year starts next year, and we haven't settled out what's going on with quarterback.
And
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't blame Carr. I mean, Saints was there. It was Carr's first choice. Carr was, Jets' first choice, but Jets, it wasn't our first choice with Carr. So I get it. And the thing is, the Rodgers thing, it's like he's either going to retire or he's going to come to the Raiders or Jets, or he might go home with San Francisco. Anything could play out.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, I want to know, what would you give up for Rodgers or Lamar? That's two questions in there. What would you do?
Well, for Rodgers, I would throw in the 13th pick for 100%. Make sure we get it in. I would throw a first and a second, maybe. But I think because of how much we're dealing with, and I've heard some things around the block that the Jets are probably not going to get the first round pick, but they have a deal, so maybe, or working out how they can get. They leveraged a lot of picks in the mid rounds. That's how they got the Tyreek Hill deal almost done. They used all their mid round picks, not the first round picks. So I'd be surprised if Joe Douglas really gives up a first rounder, but I mean, if it's necessary, I'm down. But Lamar is definitely going to be 2 first rounders at least. So I'd be willing to do that.
And not only that, like, if we're going to give up a first round pick for Rodgers, I at least want 2 or 3 years. You know what I mean? I think that in 1 year, I don't want another Favre. I don't want Favre. I love Favre when he was here, but I know there's a bunch of stuff that happened with that. Could be deja vu all over again with Rodgers being here, maybe. But I totally would like him to do 2 to 3 years if I'm going to give up a first round pick. I wouldn't mind giving up a first round pick next year, or maybe a 3rd or 4th round pick in the draft for him. But I think Lamar, I like what you said about Lamar. Lamar, you're going to have to give up a lot and a lot of guaranteed money. I think he's either going to end up staying with the Ravens with something, or he's going to go to Atlanta, because Atlanta view him like Michael Vick. And I know that owner is ready to open up his checkbook. Yeah. So I think that could go either way.
Yeah. And I don't see him coming into the AFC. I don't think the Ravens would really willingly let him leave to go to the AFC. They'd probably try to match the offer to just keep him out. So, and Atlanta's a good option as well, because, they're a team that's starving to get Ravely back. They have a nice stadium. They've been up and down in terms of their success recently, and they would love to get someone like Lamar. But yeah, I mean, draft picks this is the price we have to pay. We swung on the 2nd overall pick. Zach didn't work out. If he would have worked out, we'd be talking about what's the big fish that we can get to really complete the team. But unfortunately, we're on the other side of the coin here, where we're looking at mid-year veteran quarterbacks in the middle of a rookie contract. It's just the Jets' way to go about it.
It's not ideal at all. And like the thing that really kind of scares me is if we go out and get this Aaron Rodgers deal done, that goes against everything that Joe Douglas has ever preached, everything that Joe Douglas has really ever done. It's very unlike. I don't think Joe Douglas has ever done it where he's given up a first round pick.
Right.
And it's not just, like you said, it's not just going to be the first round pick. I don't know, man. Like, I often wonder, because obviously the team's not going to go out and talk bad about Derek Carr. They wanted Derek Carr to feel like the hottest thing since sliced bread. But, during Joe Douglas and even Robert Saleh's press conferences last week, they genuinely seemed like they liked him. So you just got to wonder, is there a situation where Woody Johnson stepped in and he said, no, I want to sell the T-shirts, the jerseys, I got to sell my tickets. We have to go get Aaron Rodgers. So I just wonder how much influence Woody Johnson has in this decision.
Yeah, but not only that, though, before interrupt you. Sorry, Justin. I think it's one of those things where I don't think Joe Douglas would go after Aaron Rodgers if the Packers are going to pay at least half of that $58 million, because he will get something done. I mean, he went up to go get JJ and Breece Hall. We have never seen a GM in Jets as me, I'm 30, in my history of with the Jets, seen someone do that, of watching the draft, because we've had a lot of crappy drafts. For me, I think there's something else going on. I think JD's going to get a deal done, because there's this, either whether it's Rodgers or Lamar or someone else, but it's going to be very telling, because if we're all in on Rodgers, that $58 million, we can't pay that all. So there's got to be like a half or something.
Right. I think there'll be a good way to work it out. And Rodgers even spoke to on the Pat McAfee show, where he said, I know I would have to redo the deal. I don't think it's going to be that exact number. Is he going to be team friendly? I don't expect him to. I think the quarterback market is going to be floating above $30 million going forward. So we're in that situation. If we could just get it done, I'm interested to see how much we're paying. And obviously, it won't be as much as we would give, let's say, Lamar Jackson in terms of overall value. I mean, we're talking multiple first-round picks and a massive, massive contract. but it's not going to be cheap either. You know, Derek Carr got 4 years, 150 million, with I think 50 something in the first year. We just saw what Geno Smith signed a little over an hour ago.
52, 53.
The market is going up. The market
Yeah.
is going up. So
to kind of play devil's advocate here a little bit, let's say, I mean, the way I'm looking at it is that Lamar's not even on the table.
right.
If Aaron Rodgers comes out and says, "Hey, I want to retire," where do you go from there?
I think Tannehill is probably the better option. You probably bring Mike White back. But you can't have Mike White and Zach be the only quarterbacks you have in camp. I think Tannehill's a little bit better. You can maybe talk me into Jimmy G, but that doesn't really excite me. Don't know how he fits outside of a San Francisco West Coast scheme. I know we're running a similar one to what it used to be, but you know, can he really stay healthy? Can he also elevate the squad? I just have big concerns about Jimmy G. I'm just
exactly
not something, and that's a guarantee that if Zach Wilson's on the roster and Jimmy G's here, we'll be seeing Zach again. And I just hope it's not the end of the regime. Like, I like these guys that we got.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, too, Zach Wilson is currently the only quarterback under contract right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So,
yeah. And Strevler, isn't he? Don't we have like contract rights?
I think we do have like exclusive free agency rights. We have a couple of guys like that. Like Bryce Huff is a restricted free agent for us.
Yeah. Right.
Because he was an undrafted free agent. I'm just I cannot watch another Strevler performance at all. I was at the game against Jacksonville. I had worked so many hours with the Christmas Spectacular at Radio City, and I'm dying to go out to the game. I'm like, all right, the Jet game's going on, and then just to watch that, it was just like that broke my back. So I'm just good on seeing some Zach Wilson and Strevler out there.
I was at that game too, man. I have never heard a quarterback get booed off the field as loud as Zach Wilson did.
It was
any
brutal.
mistake. He breathes the wrong way. They were booing the kid off the field, and I don't even think that there's a reason to bring Strevler back. I mean, like, I've seen enough with the Wildcat over my couple of years. So
the Jets have more pressing needs.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Gino, what are you thinking?
Well, I think all of us are right, because it's one of those things where we all have different opinions about it. We prefer someone more than others, but I think we all agree about Jimmy G. We don't want him, but they want him. For some reason, the Jets really like Jimmy G a lot, and they liked Rodgers a lot. And Tannehill keeps getting brought up a little bit as well. That's another trade that could also happen. But if we bring in like a Tannehill or Jimmy G, I'm kind of curious to think what kind of mindset they're going to have facing against their former teams in the AFC East. Would that drive them? Would that be like something that maybe we can get over the hump? It's definitely a question to be answered. But overall, if you don't swing on Rodgers, don't swing on Lamar, because Carr's gone, it's just going to be very interesting, because now we have a defense we have to be concerned about, because we got to fill in some pieces, because there's a lot of free agents happening. A lot of cuts are happening. So I'm not really worried about the offense too much. I'm just more worried about the quarterback position and some pieces on the defense. But Justin, if Rodgers is here, would you bring a Lazard here? Would you bring a Hopkins here? Would you maybe trade for Allen Robinson? What are you thinking?
I'd go for one of those three. I think the Jets do need a bigger bodied receiver, especially if they're not going to keep Corey Davis. Now, if they do, great. But his availability is a major, major concern for us. I will see Lazard coming in here. He blocks really well. He's big body receiver. Not a bad option for us, especially with Garrett Wilson being the one. Elijah Moore. I'm interested to see, can Mims even develop over the summer with a guy like Rodgers being here? Because Rodgers is a guy that elevates your entire offense. Everybody's going to get a lot of love. Everything's going to be on target between the tight ends, the wide receivers. We have a very deep skill group at running back and wide receiver and tight end. So I'm fine with Lazard. I'm not really big on Robinson. He's had his chances to come here and he's chosen to go elsewhere. And I just don't know how much more he can really has in the tank. I know it's weird to say for a 30-year-old receiver, but he's probably on, nothing, a lot went wrong in Los Angeles, but I'm not really feeling Allen Robinson. I would be fine with Lazard, someone he's familiar with.
Yeah, definitely Allen. I almost said Lazard. Robinson, he's like one of those guys that seems to come up every year. I could remember thinking back to like the Adam Gase era, possibly bringing him here. But the thing, like, with to go back to quarterback just for a second, like outside, like with Jimmy G, he's only done two things, and that's get injured and win. Like Jimmy G, when he's on the field, he puts up numbers. He can
Mhm.
win. I would feel a lot better with him than somebody like a Tannehill, to be completely honest with you. But I mean, I don't know. It's not ideal either way. And just you got like Gino said, you got to wonder like what kind of skill players you're going to want to follow. What other players are going to come here to
Mhm.
play with these kind of guys. Who's that big quarterback that's going to attract all these guys? Dwayne Brown apparently is coming back. So maybe he
Yeah.
knows something. Maybe he knows
Massive,
that.
massive.
Yeah, I think that's a really telling sign right there, to be completely honest with you. Because why would a 38-year-old, he was going to retire last year. He played through an injury. He's back. He's on a revenge tour this year. Why would he want to come back if it was something that he didn't believe in? That's the way I
Right,
look at it. At
right.
least.
And I think with the Jets again, you have a great option in Derek Carr you're speaking highly of, and you let him go right to the Saints, and he was right there for you. Like it must have been known that hey, he's gonna come talk to us. But it's weird because they can't speak to Rodgers and find out if he really wants to be here. You know, Carr, they knew he could have gotten a good feel for whether they wanted to be here or not, but Rodgers is owned by the Packers, so you can't really speak to him and get a feel for whether he really feels like he's a fit for your team. So if they let Carr walk away, and with that report yesterday, I think that was maybe Carr's last ditch effort to say, Jets, I'm not gonna wait forever.
Yeah.
And I think the Jets would probably just like, listen, we know we're gonna get Rodgers. So I'm praying that they know something that we do not, because
Right.
the speculation on the timeline is already starting to build. So
And not only that, it's one of those things too. Will Parks has kind of said some stuff on Twitter. It's like Garrett Wilson commented on it. I saw Hardy comment on it. I'm like, wow, they must know something really going on there. That's because usually no one talk. I know how social media can be. I think we all know because we're all content creators. But if someone keeps talking like that, something's going down.
Well, it seemed like they were disappointed that they didn't get Carr. Like I think they were just resigned or open to the opportunity to play with a guy like that. I think he really invigorates the locker room. Smart, I think he got a bad deal with the Raiders at some point. Really helped will that team. But listen, New Orleans is a good spot for him. He's got a good amount of money. Somehow they continue to come up with ways to create cap space.
Right.
So I wouldn't. We were too worried about how much we're paying Rodgers. So
yeah, I'm not worried about the cap at all.
Yeah,
And but like, didn't the Jets inquire about Aaron Rodgers during the Super Bowl, or like right before the Super Bowl?
I know they were talking to him already. Like they had inquired with the Packers. But I'm sure whenever they get the answer, it's going to move fast. It's just a matter of when will the answer get here.
I'm just curious to know if he's going to be on the Pat McAfee show tomorrow.
He is. I just don't know what he's going to do or say.
Is he? I thought he had a final appearance a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
I keep hearing it everywhere. I keep hearing that is going on, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't, though, because now it's kind of getting crunch time. You got the tagging tomorrow. You got free agency starting Wednesday. Like something's going to happen.
I mean, I kind of agree with Juss, though. I think that he did kind of give like his little goodbye. He said that he wishes that he could continue to do this sometime in the future. So don't know really.
Yeah.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he's just such a wild cat. You don't know what kind of what he means by anything. You have to like really like do like your due diligence trying to just figure out an Aaron Rodgers sentence. It's crazy sometimes.
And even going forward, even if he does come here, are we going to have to go through this immediately after this first season? Like, does he want to play? Does he want to leave? I think that's something I would hope the Jets got hammered away. It's like, listen, we don't want to deal with the nonsense of you speculating retirement after this year. We're paying you money. Right. We're trading for you. We want to know that you guys are going to do it. So,
Philip Rivers, this is an interesting comment. I don't.
That's my friend. Yeah. Philip Rivers comes out. There was speculation he's coming out of retirement, but I just think last time I saw Philip Rivers, his arm was just looked like it was dead. I mean,
exactly. It's like a Winston Matt Ryan situation.
Yeah, Winston wouldn't be an awful option. He's explosive, but his health, interceptions, turnovers. Again, it's just going to be hard to sell the fan base on anything but Rodgers. So
yeah, I agree.
And I think overall, if you're going to go out and get those kind of guys, now we're hearing Brady might come out of retirement now and play for the Dolphins.
Please go away.
I know, right? There's always something, right? There's always something. My plot twist is thinking Rodgers wants to be a Packer for life and will retire, or he'll go home to San Francisco or go to the Raiders. But I don't see that really happening. I kind of see Jimmy G going to the Raiders. But like Porto in the comments was right, it's the same every year. There's always something happening with that position every year.
And I think I'm curious to know if he goes. Sorry, Liam. If
Go
he
ahead.
stays in Green Bay, what do they do with Jordan Love? Do they trade him out?
That's the thing. They want him to start. They want him to start. They want him to be the guy.
It's a major limbo. Like they'll be back in the spot next year, and if they alienate Jordan Love, I mean, then they're in a weird spot. So I think I'm curious to know what the Packers want to do. If he says I want to come back to Green Bay, will they say, "Hey, I don't want you here anymore"?
Right. I think they're ready to move on.
You see, it's funny. My cousin is a really big Packers fan, and he's pretty like plugged in with the team, and he watches all their podcasts and everything else like that. And the general consensus is that Rodgers is gone, and they want Jordan Love to start because you're right. They have to figure out what they have in him, and it's you could put it off for another year, but that's just another year of unknowns, another year of you don't know what he is, another year closer to paying him or having to trade him. I mean, you can't keep him. You're going to have to either pay him big time money because he was a first round pick, or you're going to have to ship him out somewhere. But I think at the end of the day, the Packers need to figure out what they have in him. I don't think that the Packers don't strike me as a team that wants to be going through quarterbacks every couple years. A team like the Colts. They seem like they get their franchise guy and they want to roll for the next at least 10 years. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, 18 years. Like they like that continuity. They like the longevity there. So I don't know. It's torn. I'm torn on it because I think Aaron Rodgers will be coming here. That's my gut feeling. But I also have that negative, miserable Jets fan where I've been just traumatized for the last 15 years.
Yep.
And I would not be surprised one bit to wake up in the morning and, hey, Aaron Rodgers is retiring or Aaron Rodgers is going to, Tampa Bay, something like that. I've seen it one too many times. The only difference is, like the comment said, that we're not really in that conversation for the veteran quarterback this time of year. So I don't know, man. It's kind of scary for me.
Yeah, I'm just again, like I said, it was around this time of year we figured out what was going on with the Tyreek Hill trade, and it was random out of left field. It turned us up. I was at my uncle's doing my taxes, and I was started going ballistic, and then to us to end up on the wrong end. Now, did it work out for the better? Yeah, it did. Because we were able to draft Garrett, Jermaine, and Breece Hall with those picks, but in this situation, it's like, how do you even pivot from that? How can you even find a silver lining? Where's the benefit? Where's the benefit if Rodgers doesn't come here? Do we throw a Hail Mary for Lamar? Do they go that way? I think with them, they have such a good young team and such capabilities to really make some noise next year. They want the best possible. So I'm curious to see how they pivot. So my friend Aaron here is asking about why not Lamar. It's just, I just don't think anybody's like he belongs to the Ravens. That's the issue. You're either going to trade them 4 first-round picks or give him $200 million and give the Ravens 2 first-round picks. It's a lot, and I don't know how he fits.
Exactly.
I'm looking at this too. What about Matthew Stafford? I think he's done. Yeah. I mean, he got his Super Bowl. He was injured last year. I've been hearing reports that he's not coming back. So
no, I think he's come back for one more year. I think he'll be back one more year at least. He said it on his wife's podcast that they have. He said he's going to come back for another year, but I don't know how many times. But we all know once you get banged up and hurt going into OTAs, you never know what's going to happen. So,
what you guys do first?
Do 200? Yeah, would you guys do this? 200 million guaranteed? Hell no. Hell no. I'm
scared about it's scary because Lamar's missed 6 games each of the last 2 seasons.
Right.
Do the Jets trust him to stay healthy enough? Do the Jets, trust him to be able to maintain in the passing game with the rest of the team? I mean, it's a bit rich. He's one play away from getting out for the season. I mean, that's how everybody is, but it's.
And the thing to remember too is Joe Douglas is not reckless. Like Joe Douglas has his beliefs, and he's going to stick to his beliefs, whether the fans like it or not.
Right.
I don't think that Joe Douglas is going to get that reckless. But then again, Joe Douglas is definitely on the hot seat this year. He had one good draft, let's face it. And then other than that, you had Elijah Moore. You had a couple guys here and there, Michael Carter. But even, I don't know, man. I don't think that Joe Douglas is going to do 200 million guaranteed. I think Woody Johnson would. Yeah, because just Woody Johnson only cares about tickets and sales. I don't think that Joe Douglas would do that, though, to be completely honest with you. And I have a feeling, like we've been saying, that it is Aaron Rodgers or bust. I don't think Lamar's coming here. I can't do it. There's no way in hell that I would give him $200 million to come here, give up all those draft compensations, because that goes against everything that we have known about Joe Douglas.
I mean, I think Joe Douglas is willing to do what is necessary to improve this team. If they feel
Exactly.
like if they can't get Rodgers, I think Lamar is the next best option. I think they'd be foolish to not even try. But they're at the point where they have to break this playoff drought. They have to start making some noise and maximizing the contracts of Brees, Sauce, Jermaine, Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, because at some point you're gonna have to pay these guys, and you don't want to be in a spot where your team is not very good and these guys don't want to stay. I'm willing to sacrifice the draft picks. We've had more than enough. We've got a good core of players. I would keep investing in the offensive line.
Exactly.
For sure with Lamar here. It's murky waters right now. It really is. There's so much speculation, and we really want the sound answers.
Exactly. What are you saying, Liam?
Another thing I want to touch on: if we do get an Aaron Rodgers, are you cool with bringing like a Bakhtiari?
Yeah, I want all swings offensive line. I want all swings. Just watching what we had, all the combinations last year. We didn't have a starting line until week 6 or week 7. And then we lose AVT. Dwayne Brown is hurt almost all season after he signed here about a week or two. It was just too much of a revolving door. We thought we had a good gem at Max Mitchell. He goes out with blood clots for the season. Which Breckton is still a question mark. What are we going to do at center with McGovern being a free agent? We've got a lot of questions to fill out offensive line and opportunity to build there.
What'd you do, Orlando Brown? He's going to be expensive, just like Tunzel. Tunzel's the same way. He wants to reset the market. I get
expensive like Tunzel, but I think the Jets could make tackle work. I think they got to work on the interiors.
I agree.
Mainly. I think you got Dwayne Brown, who's a really solid left tackle. Max Mitchell can play right tackle. AVT can play right tackle. But it's the guard play. It's the centers that really killed us. I mean, Laken Tomlinson looked like lost. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a weird signing and a weird year for Laken. But to answer Aaron's question, AVT is rehabbing from his tricep surgery. So he went down for the year with torn triceps. Thankfully, Joe Douglas said that those guys are progressing really well, him and Brees. So we're getting a lot of weapons back, but we need a general here.
So going back to the offensive line with the draft, since we already touched on the free agent stuff, in the draft, if we don't give up some draft picks or whatever we got to do, what would you do? A center and a tackle? What would you do in the first 3 rounds?
Truthfully, in the first 3 rounds, if it depends on what we've given, I think we'll still have the first round pick. I hope. If you don't like offensive linemen, I like Soronsky. He's got a size. He's similar measurables as AVT. We like that length and size on the line. I think AVT is a piece where you can plug him pretty much anywhere and he's fine. But I wouldn't want to draft a guard or center in the first round. Maybe, you maybe go guard in the middle rounds and hopefully you get a swing or steal there. I think they maybe sign Herbig back. But listen, right. I wouldn't be opposed to getting a wide receiver or maybe a dynamic safety. I think that's what we really need on the back end as well. Safety is an underrated need for the Jets.
Facts.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you also got to look at somebody like a Broderick Jones. Like, he's been
that's my boy.
He's actually appeared on the mock draft Monday a couple weeks ago for the Jets. So, he does seem to be like a really good player. I've done like a little bit of research on him, not too much. It's really hard for me to get into draft mode when I don't know who my quarterback is going to be.
Agreed.
But Juss, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. The safeties, I've been saying it all season long. Gino knows. I'm beating a dead horse here with Gino. The safeties have been a liability all season long. If you want to bring back Whitehead, maybe you do that. I didn't really like Whitehead. I don't see a situation that you can bring Joyner back. I think Joyner's just past his prime. Would you look to go somebody like a Jimmy Ward?
I think Jimmy Ward would be great here. I think Jimmy Ward would be great here. He knows the Saleh system. He's still got abilities to play wherever he wants in the box. He can play a little bit deep. I would have loved Jesse Bates if we could have pulled that off.
Yes.
I think if to circle back on the Rodgers stuff, if we didn't have to deal with quarterback and paying a guy $30+ million and giving him compensation, I think the Jets would have just loaded up on getting Jesse Bates in here. Maybe, and then you can maybe poach a guy like Bobby Wagner.
Or Kendricks.
Kendricks is a great option. I'm interested to see how they're going to approach that because he's a great linebacker. Got a lot of speed. We obviously have a hole with Quincy Williams possibly not coming back as a free agent. I think we need somebody next to Mosley that can really help cover. I think the Jets want to try to get a guy like Fred Warner. I think they're trying to look for that. But to GVH's point, Poyer would be awesome for the Jets too.
Yeah.
But I think he's a little sick of New York with all the taxes and the cost of living here. He would probably want a good amount of money. But Bates is my number one. If we could do it, Ward and Poyer would be my in that order.
I can honestly see Poyer going to Miami, or it'll be. I don't think he's going to be with Buffalo next year. I just can't see it. I think he's either going to go to Miami. I think he wants to stay in the division, or I could see him go out to California. But I agree with that. Bates was my number one, or anybody from Alabama in the draft. But I think at linebacker, though, would you re-sign Quan?
I would. It depends on the price. I would. It depends on the price. I just think he wasn't really used too much on passing downs. He was used a lot on running downs from what I had seen. It was usually Mosley and Quincy. I liked Quan, what he brought here. I just don't see how he fits what the Jets need. I think the Jets would probably try to prioritize bringing somebody like Sheldon Rankins back over bringing back Quan.
What would you do with Carl Lawson? Would you re-sign him?
Truthfully, I would keep him on the team. I think there's something to it that he really wasn't as explosive early in the year. He had mentioned that he wasn't 100% healthy. He had some soreness with his Achilles. They are a hard injury to come back from. But he still was a pretty dominant force on the edge when he started to get his groove towards the end of the year. He still finished with 7 sacks. I think that edge rushing presence is really a key part of this Jets defense. I don't think we should create more holes in hoping to try to get better when it's really hard to fill that spot in the first place.
No, you're not wrong there. But the thing is, we have Jermaine Johnson, we have Clemens. Hopefully we bring back Huff. I think that we have an abundance of riches there. I think that we could, if there's one free agent that we could afford to move on from, I think it would be Carl Lawson.
Agreed.
Would you bring back Rankins from somewhere between 6 to 10 million?
100%.
Me too.
I think Rankins is so good inside. He was, if you remember that win against Buffalo, he was an absolute force before he dislocated his elbow. Mm-hmm. He was a force inside. I think he's got great speed. He helps give Quinnen Williams a good rest. I think they work really well together inside. He's one of those guys for me that I like. I really would like to see him come back. But of course, if he gets too expensive, we have to maybe try to address that later in the draft, maybe with the interior lineman.
You got to bring JFM back in the middle. None of this on the side stuff. JFM's better in the middle, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I agree too. I actually pulled up the Jets free agents on offense. If you guys want to go through them real quick, we could talk and see if there's anybody there. I guess so. First up on the list is, they have him marked down as a running back, but I'm pretty sure he's a fullback. Nick Baldwin. I don't remember him being a running back. I'm pretty sure he's a fullback, right?
I barely saw him playing. He's probably a special teamer.
That's what I'm thinking.
The Jets are special teams guys, though.
Yeah, they do, especially with Hardy.
Would you guys bring him back then?
No.
No, I wouldn't bring him back.
No.
He probably might end up being back. He might be one of those signings we do.
Yeah, he's probably like a Shepard, Ashton Davis, Ty Johnson, Mims. JD loves the ones that hang on to those guys as much as they can.
Right. Yeah. This is just offense. So next we have LDT. I think I would bring him back. I mean, he knows the system.
I would bring him back.
Team a couple of years.
Agreed.
I bring him back.
I'm always going to be for offensive line depth. Always.
Yeah.
Amen.
What about? Well, this is tackle George Fant. Would you bring George Fant back? I don't know if I would.
No.
He really collapsed down the end of the year. I'm really glad the Jets didn't give him that deal that he wanted at the end of last season. It's unfortunate that he played really well and then it just got hurt. And then I think the knee was never right. He had surgery in the offseason, came into minicamp, his knee wasn't right. Training camp, it still wasn't right. He had more than enough time to get healthy, and it just was not working out. I think I'm good on him being here.
And not only that too, it's I think he was starting to get pissed off too that they were bouncing him from left to right. They couldn't really give him a home. So I think that he's definitely going to want to explore the market. Another one is guard Dan Feeney. I've never really been crazy about Dan Feeney. Like I always say, I would like to have a beer with Dan Feeney. I wouldn't necessarily want to see him on my football team. Mm-hmm. But from whatever I could remember, I don't really remember him being a problem. He has played a couple of times. So what do you guys think about that?
He's guard depth. I think they like guys that are maybe familiar with the locker room and the culture. It's a cohesive unit. I think most of the unit will still be back, but again, he's not that great, not bad. It's just he just is, you know.
Italy, would you bring Feeney back?
No, not even
No.
close. I would. I mean, I'm like Justin. You know, I want to. If I'm going to stock up on any position anywhere, and it's just one, it would be the O line. Whether it's center, tackles, guards. I would. I mean, we're the number one team with the most injuries on the offensive line the last 3 years, and that's awful. Stack them up and just keep bringing them in, even on the practice squad.
Somebody that we do need to have back, everybody's favorite player of all time, quarterback Joe Flacco, 74 years old.
I hope he please ride off into the sunset into retirement. Sign with the retirement team this year, Joe, please.
Right. Go to the XFL.
Yeah, there you go.
If he still wants to play football, he's got a shot.
Next we have where am I? Guard Nate Herbig. I would bring Herbig back.
Absolutely.
Herbig can play center and guard. He's a good depth piece. I think he was really physical. I just think he has some injuries that really wore him down during the season, so I'll bring him back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, another one here. This is kind of an interesting one. Ty Johnson, running back, because we have Zonovan Knight, we have Breece Hall, we have Carter. I don't really know where Ty Johnson fits this scheme, but for some reason the team does seem to like him. Like they do.
I like his running style as well.
Me
he
too.
looked pretty good when he came back. I remember against the Saints game a couple years ago when he dropped 5 passes. I was ready to exile him. That did not happen. He's still on the team, but he played pretty well. But I think it's a matter of what we got in the room. I think he can get better and younger at that position.
I'm more of I think overall Ty Johnson, he's good at running. The way he switches on and off. The offensive line didn't help him, just like the whole entire running back room. But I think he's good on special teams. The way he swishes and swifts, it's good. It's just when you just don't pass them.
He'll be cheap to bring back, but
Exactly.
again, like you said, with Breece, Michael Carter, Zonovan Knight. I mean, does he fit in the room? I'm sure he'll probably be back at camp, but maybe he's let go.
And technically, James Robinson
as well. We have a really deep room, so.
Well, yeah, he's actually. I was going to get to him in a few minutes. He's actually a restricted free agent. James Robinson is. I wouldn't bring him back though. I don't see the need to have 4 to 5 running backs. I think 3 is plenty to be completed. Unless you want to stash one away in the practice squad. I don't think James Robinson is the guy to put in the practice squad though. Maybe Ty Johnson goes to the practice squad.
Right.
Yeah. So up next we have center Connor McGovern. This is a good one. I hear a lot of ups and downs about Connor McGovern. What would you do with him?
Truthfully, I would like him back. I thought he was a pretty solid for us at center. Unless there's a clear upgrade at center that we can be had. I don't know if Herbig's a better option at center, and we get 2 birds with 1 stone. We can keep AVT at right guard or whatever direction that we want to go to. But I think McGovern was good enough this past year that he should be back. I think that'll be a good move for us if we can bring him back. I just don't know where we're going to get better without going to the draft and hitting on a pick there.
Yeah, I'll remain to be seen. I think it just depends on what we do in free agency and the draft to bring him back. But I don't think McGovern's going to wait too long.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to want to get a contract from somewhere. Next, we have tackle is Cedric Abugier. What are you thinking with him?
That's a no for me.
It was his middle of the year signing. He was okay. But it was part of the reason why the line faltered.
I think that was just Joe Douglas, pressing the panic button, just seeing who was available. I don't really see a reason to bring him back. And then the other guy that Joe Douglas brought in later on was also tackle Mike Remmers. I don't think I would really bring him back either, to be completely honest.
Send him to the moon.
Would you send him to the moon too, or would you keep him?
I like Remmers. I always have liked Remmers, but I don't think he'll be on this team, and I don't really want him back if we're going to bring LDT back. I want LDT more.
Yeah.
All right. I promise you guys, we're almost done here. Quarterback Mike White. I would bring him back. But I think we all would agree to bring back Mike White. I think the bigger question is what kind of contract we would give Mike White. I could be wrong. Maybe you guys don't. I don't want to speak for you guys.
Truthfully, I hear my dad going, Mike White. Rodgers comes here. Are we going to end up having to put have 2 quarterbacks added to the roster this year. Like it's a lot of money to put this in the position now. Does the backup quarterback cost $6 to $8 million? Yes. Would he be a better backup option than Zach Wilson behind Rodgers? I mean, truthfully, he probably is, but I don't know. I would bring him back for the sake of the fact that we don't have another backup option, and I don't think Zach Wilson's a pitchable number 2 right now. I would let them battle it out, truthfully.
I don't want Mike White back. I just don't see it. He wants $8 to $10 million. He's got other teams talking to him. Yeah. I really don't think he wants to be a backup here. I really think he wants to start somewhere. I could see him going to Miami, and I could see us picking up a veteran or pick up Jimmy G or Rodgers again, or like a Lamar. But I really can't see him back on this team. That would actually be one of my surprise picks to come back to the Jets.
Yeah,
interesting. Next up, we have guard Adam Pankey. Who the fuck is Adam Pankey?
Well, oh yeah, Adam Pankey.
See ya.
Eagles. It was Eagles, but no, I would not. No, we don't need him.
This might be my first time hearing his name. I don't remember Adam Pankey whatsoever. So
it's rare that I don't know a Jet player name. It's rare. No, so if I heard, I'm like
Eagles guy with Nate Herbig.
This is why we keep Italy Jet around. He knows everybody.
Oh shit.
All right, we went through James Robinson, and then last but not least is wide receiver Jeff Smith.
Yeah, all the way. Keep him. If you're not, if Berrios is gone, Davis is gone, and if Moore wants a trade because he hasn't brought back his trade request yet, so is Mims. Hell yeah, I would keep Smith and then go out and get someone else or draft someone else. That's my personal opinion.
I agree with you.
I'm okay bringing Smith back. He was another guy that I'd be like, why is he still on this team? But he did. He's got some value on special teams. He's not the worst wide receiver out there. I'm sure we've tried it out worse.
Right.
He would. And he'd be cheap to bring back. So sure, Jeff Smith, you can stay.
And that's the thing, like with a lot of these players, yeah. I feel like a lot of them we could bring back for cheap. I think another thing that Joe Douglas is going to have to do, we're going to see a lot of restructures this offseason too.
I think so
especially
too.
If we're bringing in Aaron Rodgers. But I think a lot of it's warranted. Like I would restructure C.J. Mosley. I think he's a good example.
Agreed.
Braxton Berrios, Corey Davis, if you want to keep them, because I hear a lot of people saying that they want to get rid of Corey Davis and Braxton Berrios, but those are guys that you're going to have to fill that
replace
position.
them. Yeah,
exactly.
So
that's a good point, Liam.
And that's the thing. If you reconstruct them, and if they're willing to come back cheaper instead of going out to get someone. I think for me, if Berrios and Davis does come back, get rid of Smith and draft a wide receiver, and bring Calvin Jackson back maybe for the practice squad.
Listen, if Jackson Smith is there at 13 from Ohio State, he can wear green and white any day. Truthfully, for me, like I know we want to get bigger, but
yeah. Are you an Ohio State fan?
No, I'm not. I don't have a really college team. I kind of just spend my time admiring the championship games in the playoffs, but I don't have a team that I actually religiously follow.
Gotcha.
Would you hang on to both tight ends, Conklin and Uzama?
I would. Truthfully, I think they were more, I think they were hurt by quarterback play. Exactly. I think if we had more consistent quarterback play, I think we would have been able to get them really going. Conklin was a little bit underwhelming. I was really pissed off with him in the Minnesota game. Like it just felt weak. Like I didn't feel like he was really imposing his will as a tight end out there. But Uzama's got good energy about him. He blocks like a freight train, and he caught everything that was thrown his way. He just didn't really get any opportunities to catch anything. So I would like to see Conklin and Uzama come back, and then we need to get Ruckert in there. We need to get Ruckert because he was blocking like a freight train too.
And not only that, he's great in the red zone. Like, we just didn't have those opportunities with the offensive line and quarterback play. Conklin, I love Conklin. I don't really like him here, but I would totally give Uzama everything. Uzama had one of the best seasons in the red zone with Burrows and just even throwing him downfield. Like you said, he caught everything. But Ruckert, man, he was underrated as a catcher at Ohio State. Everything that was thrown to him, he caught. So I think for me, get Ruckert in there, keep Yeboah, give me those 4 tight ends. You never know what's going to happen. But Uzama, play them all, play Conklin, play Rucker, because if the QB play comes in and gets better with a good offensive line,
Agreed.
everyone is going to spread out. Everyone is going to get the ball. Those are the two missing pieces.
Rodgers has had
I
some great
disagree.
success with his tight ends, truthfully. You disagree? Let's hear it.
I wouldn't bring back Uzama. I can't justify paying $10 million for a blocking tight end. I can't do it. I mean, I want to get Rucker going, and if he gets going, then you have him and Conklin. I think that's fine.
No.
Not
Conklin. I Uzama over Conklin any day.
Okay, but it seems like the New York Jets value Conklin more than they do Uzama. I mean, like, he seems to be more of that catching tight end. I don't know what Jeremy Rucker is going to turn out to be, if he's going to be the blocking tight end or the more of a catching tight end. I do like the idea of two tight end sets. I do like that idea. And listen, this is nothing against Uzama. It's not that I don't like CJ Uzama. It's just if he could restructure, fine. I can't see giving up $10 million for a tight end that just blocks. I can't do it.
I do think it's a matter of the quarterback situation. I do think it was a matter of the coaching as well. The Jets' offensive coaching was a little bit weird last year. I mean, the fact that we had week 1, Garrett Wilson comes in, makes a dynamic play, and then goes to the sideline, and they're sitting there talking about the spotlight can be too big for this guy. He eventually wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. Like, why are we playing this cute cat and mouse game with the receivers? They did it to Mims. They did it to Elijah, trying to make him an outside receiver. They did it to Mims with, hey, you need to learn all the positions of wide receiver. Same thing with tight end. I think it was a product of that what they were trying to do with their position groups and not knowing how to utilize guys effectively.
I agree.
Yeah, you wonder how much of that was on LaFleur too. I think that we're going to definitely see what LaFleur was really about now that he's not here. Actually, we're going to see what kind of changes. Because I trust Nate Hackett as OC. I really do.
Yeah.
I think he'll be okay. I don't think he's gonna be like this great offensive guru, like we've heard that term a million times. But I think that he's gonna be serviceable enough. He's gonna scheme guys open, especially if he does have Aaron Rodgers. I think that's just gonna make life 100 times easier for him. But I think it's gonna be. I'm excited to see where this goes with him.
Right. I've been seeing some people talk about they're down on the coaching staff right now with what we've added. Again, the results will speak for themselves. I'm just not gonna be overly concerned or get myself down about how we feel about, Nate Hackett and Downing and the new offensive line coach that we hired. Like, let's just see these guys get on the field and let's see what they can build together. I mean, it's more experience than what we had in the last couple of years, it should be helpful. But again, I'm willing to see what's going to happen.
And not only that too, it's like you got to keep in mind that we almost made the playoffs with terrible quarterback play. So anything above that's just going to be an upgrade.
Right.
Italy, you there?
Uh-oh.
You're breaking up on your. Oh, you're breaking up bad.
Okay, yeah, it's Wi-Fi issues. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
My last question for you, Justin, is what do you think about the coaches coming in? Hackett, we brought in a Tennessee coach, all the coaches that we have brought in for the offense. What do you think about all of them?
I really like the offensive line coach from Tennessee. I know Taylor Lewin was talking about him.
Right.
I don't care about that. The results speak for themselves. They had a top 4 offensive line rushing yards. They were part of some big offensive lines. Like I'm totally fine in changing the direction of where we're going with the offensive line. The Jets need to run the football, and especially in the Northeast, you got to be able to pound the football in the playoffs. And when it's windy outside, run and win with running the football. Hackett, listen, he's a smart guy. He's been around. He's got enough experience. Didn't have a good time in the Denver Broncos. Seemed like it was more than him. Russell Wilson came in. It wasn't really a great fit. And things could just go left really fast. But, it's not easy being a head coach. It's a different job from an offensive coordinator. I think people get too caught up with he was a horrible head coach, but it's like he was still a really good to very good offensive coordinator with experience running an offense, and head coach is a completely different job. Separate both of those things and just take it for what it is. He's an offensive coordinator that brings experience more than what LaFleur does, and I'm cool with that. And of course, Downing as well. He's got been around the league as well. He had those connections to Carr, Tannehill, so maybe he can help with a contingency plan, of course, if Rodgers falls through. But let's just act like Rodgers is going to be here, right?
And not only that, and not only that, like Spagnuolo, I can speak for Spagnuolo. Great defensive coordinator, just wasn't a good head coach.
Right, it happens.
And Todd Bowles, great defensive coordinator, but as coach, I don't know. McDaniels, great offensive coordinator, but he's probably not a good head coach. A lot could happen, and I do like Hackett. I think he's going to do well.
Yeah.
Another thing too to keep an eye on. During Robert Sala's press conference last week, he was saying that Downing is going to kind of be like that, like in charge of like the entire offense. So you got to wonder, where does that leave Rob Calabrese? I wonder if he's going to be out of a job because he's going to be hanging out with the quarterbacks.
I mean, I think he's still here. The fact that he's still on the staff is probably, a good thing. Yeah. Let's see what happens. I don't think they're going to make any changes before minicamp or rookie minicamp with quarterback coach and stuff like that. I think they're just trying to add some more experience to the room, which is what they really needed.
I think so, yeah, because they were really lacking that grown up in the room. After Greg Knapp, unfortunately passed away, it was just
right.
I think it was just too much newness. I mean, it worked a little bit in 2009 with Rex and Sanchez, but like Schottenheimer was kind of like a proven guy by that point. They had a couple of veterans on the team. You got to think, like, when Zach came in, it was a rookie head coach, rookie offensive coordinator, rookie quarterback. Like, it was just too much newness. I mean,
right.
the idea was to kind of build this all together, but it's almost like building a building with no blueprints. So,
Correct.
you need that one guy that knows what he's doing that could just kind of oversee everything. So I feel like Robert Saleh is like starting to come into his own. Like, he's starting to like realize what it takes to be a head coach in this league. I sent Gino the interview. He did something with Joe Beningo. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him.
I didn't listen to it, but I've been meaning to, and it's been passing my mind. But very good.
Very, very good. You know what I liked about it too is because Beningo kind of came from like a fan perspective. Like, he wasn't holding back. Why were you so bad in time management against the Lions? Oh yeah, he was like, I gotta be better. He was asking like the hard hitting questions, something that like the Jets coaches don't normally get asked, which I liked. It wasn't like I mean, everyone likes to rag on like how big and bad like Rich Cimini and the our media is. It's really not. It's really not.
No.
Compared to like what somebody like a JB did, like I just think it was like I was very interested just like listening to every question because they were like honest questions.
Right.
And I think that like this is very rare for me to say that I think Joe Beningo had his pulse on the Jets fan base, but I think in this interview he absolutely did.
Yeah, I think that's a refreshing thing. That's why I'm really going to try to listen to it really soon. I just want to be able to hear Saleh. I want to hear from him.
Yes.
we all. I'm sure we all listen to the press conferences every single day. If I'm at work, I'm putting the press conference on. Whenever they speak, I'm listening to it because I want to hear from him. And it's important to remember that he's still growing as a coach as well. The results weren't what we wanted last year. I have some hope in Saleh. You can't turn over coaches all the time, but this is a make or break year for him, and I hope he's up to the task, and I hope he's willing to change what he needs to do to get us to the playoffs and buy himself some more time.
Yeah, it was like a 40-minute like interview.
Nice.
When you're hopping in the car, throw it on or something. Definitely make time for it. I recommend.
Oh, I'll listen to it on the bus ride to work tomorrow.
There you go. But Justin, you got any questions for us before we go?
All right. Just we'll finish off the way we started. Is Rodgers here or not?
Liam, go first.
Okay. Yes.
Yes?
Yep.
Gina?
I'm from the show me state. Gotta show me. I'm going to say no.
You're going to say no? All right. We got to have a contrarian here. We got to have a reverse jinx going on, okay?
Liam, you got anything else?
Would I be surprised if he didn't come here? Absolutely not.
I would not be.
It's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm holding on to false hope here. But like all I know is I need something big to happen. So why not tomorrow?
Dying for it.
Any last words for me? Not really. It's just, find a way to get Aaron Rodgers in the building. And if not, then, maybe just somehow find a way to get Lamar Jackson here without giving him $200 million guaranteed. But other than that, just do something. I mean, we can't walk into next season with just Mike White and Zach Wilson. I don't think you could do it whatsoever. Vinny has finally joined. Rodgers is coming, Gino. Unfortunately, Jets will end up overpaying. You think the Jets are going to overpay for him?
You never know. You never know with the Jets.
Listen, when you're in a position where you missed on the second overall pick and we haven't had a guy throw for 10 touchdowns in the last 3 or 4 seasons, you're going to have to pay a little bit more out of pocket than you want to.
Exactly.
They didn't want to be in this spot, but we're here. They have to figure out a way to get it done and justify a 12% ticket price increase.
Right.
Yeah.
Vinny, I'm going to tell you what I've been telling you since last year. We never know. We're the Jets. We either have something or we don't have something. And once the Jets get us going on this pattern, they always bring us back down to earth. But Joe Douglas, I do have faith, but you just never know.
Woody wants Rodgers to pay. Agreed, Matthias. Agreed.
Exactly.
Woody's the X factor for Rodgers, folks.
Yeah. Never know. I never count anything out. Never count it out.
The good thing is Woody Johnson likes his ticket sales. Like, he likes these big names. Like, he has his fingerprints all over this. Like, I'm okay with it. If Aaron Rodgers does come here, I'm probably going to go buy myself an Aaron Rodgers jersey. I haven't bought, like, a current player jersey in years, so this is going to be really exciting for me.
Yeah. And I'll put a Super Bowl bet in.
Oh, there you go. Do it. Just now your whole house, right?
Not the whole house, but just enough.
Enough to get yourself another house.
Agreed.
Justin, we appreciate you being on the show, man. This is always a treat for me. I love your content. I love Yankees and Jets stuff. I know I'm a Red Sox fan, but I love your content. I wish the Yankees best of luck and everything. Where can we find you real quick?
You can find me at Justin C. Similar. I kept it all the same on the name, so same spelling. I'll be there. So I appreciate you guys having me. It's really an honor, just to be able to contribute and work and get to meet you guys and contribute to some Jets talk. It's what we love to do, right? So I appreciate the opportunity always, guys. And of course, we look forward to coming back, especially maybe after the draft or around the draft. And if Rodgers comes in, let's see how the schedule looks and we'll talk about it.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah, man.
Definitely. All right, guys. You can follow us at all these social media platforms at everything NYJ, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. You can also follow Liam at this social media platform, Facebook and Instagram, official Liam Johnson. Also, you can follow me, Italy Jet, Gianantonio Pagano, and these are networks that I'm on. Guys, this has been really great. Let's see what kind of quarterback we'll get between tomorrow and Wednesday. This has been a great show. We will be back either next Monday or next Wednesday. Have a great week. Justin, good night. Liam, awesome.
Good night, everybody. Take care. Jets, get it done.